Residents of La and its environs are lamenting no-show on the La General Hospital more than 2 years after the sod was cut for the commencement of work on it. The existing facility, which served La and its environs, was demolished by government because it was in a dilapidated state and posed a risk to both patients and staff. But 2 years later, the site has been turned into a football field with no real work underway to construct a new hospital. This has led to agitations among residents who say government has failed to fulfill its promise. Speaking during a tour of the site by the Minority Caucus on the Health Committee, a resident, Reverend Ajay, described as devilish the abandonment of the project when the facility was torn down.
Not demolished, but destroyed.
What do you mean by destroyed, sir?
It was destroyed by the government. Yes, and it's affecting the people of these areas, La, Teshin, Nwa, and also.
How's it affecting you people?
We are crowded in a small area inside Labadi called Latenu radio station area. And when you go there, the deplorable state in which the places and the pain and agony people are passing through to access health care is terrible, but people are happy with it.
I see. I mean, you are within this area. Have you?
I'm a native of La.
You're a native of La. That's fine. But then, have you been able to contact the government? Have you spoken to the health ministry? Have you spoken to your MP? What's been happening to this facility, sir?
Do you know? I don't know what is happening, but I've done some assessment and I realized that areas where this government have no, let me say, MP. They don't take things serious there. Yes. Since La is in the hands of NDC, there's no way they will come and do this thing here.
So you think that it's a total neglect from the government?
Total neglect is political, highly political.
But the government is not procuring. I mean, you know, the economy, it's on its wobbling legs, and they're not procuring funds.
Now, who caused it? Who caused the economy to be on its knees? Who caused it? Some time ago, somebody was ruling, and the whole of Ghana was shouting, incompetence, incompetence. Now it is in local balance, we say, emotional. We have given it to you. Like praying draft, we have put it on your laps. Now pray the draft, and you have caused this mess. A whole hospital, look at the land.
So was it prudent for government to have demolished this?
Devilish and demonic.
Meanwhile, ranking member of the Health Committee, Kwabena Akando, is accusing government of misapplying the funds meant for the project.
He's been following this project almost everywhere, including myself. And the processes through which any facility such as this will commence is that all feasibility studies must be done before even the agreement is submitted to Parliament. So after Parliament approve the agreement before sod cutting. So once you cut the sod, it means that the contractor is ready to commence the redevelopment of the project. All this while, anytime you engage the minister until his vetting, he will tell you, I mean, work is ongoing, work is ongoing. And in fact, as you all heard, when he was being vetted, he said it was nearing completion. You understand? And so, I don't know, they have absolutely no excuse because this structure was put down in the midst of COVID 2020 and we are in 2022. It's about 68 million pounds, 68 million euros for the reconstruction of La General Hospital. And you see, it serves the Nungwa, part of Nungwa, part of Teshi, in fact, Teshi in its entirety, the Osu, and then La itself. So it's at a very strategic position. And we are talking about the capital of Ghana. So, I don't know, the president must walk the talk. If a whole president walks here to cut the sword, and this is what we see 2 years down the lane, we do not know what to believe from the president. So we are calling on the president because I think it has gone beyond the minister. And the minister has proven to the country, the whole Ghana, that he is incompetent. That probably they have used the money for another thing. As usual, you know this government.
The funds for the
I'm very sure they can prove me wrong. And I want to be proven wrong. If indeed they have not misapplied the money, they should come to site and start the work. Because I'm convinced in my mind that they've misapplied the money.
That's a strong allegation.
We have been joined by Ranking Member on Parliament's Health Committee, Kwabena Minta Akando. But before that, Watch Member of Parliament for Dade Kutupon constituency, Rita Na Odolesoa, who has been crying amidst screams of "We are dying." And Kwabena Minta Akando is joining us now. Honorable, what did you witness at the site today?
Okay, so today, myself and some members on the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, especially on the minority side, paid a working visit to the La General Hospital site, and it was quite disheartening. And if you recall, there was a hospital, a general hospital at that particular site, which was taking care of the people of La, Osu, Nungwa, and Teshi. Unfortunately, that particular facility was demolished in somewhere 15th March 2020 to give way for another redevelopment of the same facility. So the agreement was brought to Parliament, and we approved the agreement, and then the President had to drive to the site to cut the sod. The sod was cut in August 2020. And so the work is expected to complete in 2022 August. I mean, before then, anytime you ask the minister responsible for health, he will tell you work is ongoing. Anytime you meet him and ask about La General Hospital, and in fact, if you pick the 2020 budget, 2021 budget, and the 2022 budget, they keep mentioning that particular facility in those budgets. So today, I don't know, when we went to the site, we saw the site was weedy. We saw one trip of sand. We saw one trip of gravels. And we saw strips of power board. That is what we saw at the site. And it doesn't give any indication whatsoever that the contractor is coming to site any moment from now. Because we are talking about a facility of a sum of about 68 million euros. And we are seeing one trip of sand and one trip of gravels. No blocks. We didn't see any solid blocks on site. And there's no indication. There's no indication. So I am wondering why, or the motivation behind the demolition of the already the existing structure then. You know, so I don't know.
And what's also your source of claim that government has actually misapplied the funds meant for the project?
You see, there are two. Okay, so let me explain to you. Now, when we approve a loan for any facility, and you are unable to draw down the loan, or you are unable to assess the loan, what you do normally is to come back to Parliament to source for a different source to go back and then continue or start the project. 2 years down the lane, I sit on the committee as the ranking member of the committee, and they have not come back with regards to that particular facility. So number one, if you have assessed the money since 2020 and you are not doing what is expected of you, even if you start today, what 68 million euros could buy in 2020, that money cannot buy today.
But is that evidence enough to suggest that the funds were misapplied?
So where is the money?
Okay, so now what are you going to do about the project as a caucus?
So you see,
and
a lot of
department?
steps have been taken. Even the MP for that particular constituency has filed a lot of questions, and a lot of lies have been given as answers to those questions. Now, we have gone to the site to have first-hand information. We are still going to push it on the floor of the House, and we will go back until we will insist, we will follow this particular project until this project is commenced and completed. So we are not going to relent on our work at all.
And I'm just being curious a little bit. Will you invite the health minister to provide some updates and timelines?
In our next meeting, I can assure you, even if you have representatives around, in our next meeting with the minister responsible for health, we'll ask him questions with regards to La General Hospital.
I'm grateful, Kwabena Minta,
You're welcome.
joining us on Join News Prime. Now, the